Hey guys, it's Tinker Taylor here today, and welcome to day 21 of the A to Z challenge. This is actually my second time trying to record this because the first time I got 36 minutes through, and then I had to go look at a house because I might be moving, and I don't know. The house that I really wanted to have a look at that was really nice, unfortunately, it's no longer available. So yeah, we are definitely not moving into that house, but we are possibly moving and we don't know, and it's very up in the air and 50-50 about whether or not we actually move. So yeah, I'm a little stressed about that. And I'm kind of sad that I have to re-record this because my cat was meowing in the last video because she wanted me to cuddle her, and I love her and I think she should be heard by everyone and everyone should listen to what she has to say. But unfortunately, like I said, I had to go look at a house and I had to stop recording halfway through, and I could technically just cut out the bit where I got interrupted and just continue and finish it off, but no, I think it'd be better if I just redo it all over again. So yeah, here we are. We are doing a university share house, so I'm actually doing two. At the moment, you've only seen one, and what you see now, I'll be real, I'd bulldoze it. I've never bulldozed something and kept the footage in. But like I said in a previous video, I'm trying to be a little more authentic so that you can see my thought process and how things work and when I get overwhelmed and anything like that, because yeah, then you can see like, yeah, kind of what goes on behind the scenes and how frustrated I can get sometimes. So what you've seen is just 2 minutes of footage, but this whole bit until I bulldozed it was about 40 minutes. I would say probably 35 minutes. Um, yeah, like 35 minutes of effort for me to bulldoze, and it all gets shortened down into 4 minutes, and it's kind of like, okay, cool. But I think it's really important to include this process in my videos so that you can see sort of the struggles that I go through. Because I do struggle a lot, and I get overwhelmed and frustrated, and it makes me want to cry and give up. But uh, I don't, and I push through it, and I'm kind of really glad because this challenge I really have to push through it. I have to do it. Otherwise I would have just abandoned the build and not done it, not touched it again. But I'm really glad that this challenge has been pushing me to um be forced to finish it because I really like how it's ended up, especially the outside. I'm not a huge fan of the outside of a lot of my builds, and that's where I think I really lack. I think the outside of your build is terrible, then the inside is just going to feel the same. So I actually do demolish it and I start again. I went on to good old Google and had a look around at some of the things because I really just wanted something that looked nice. And this was not it. So I think it's around this point that I do mess around with the roof for a little bit, but once I do that, I pause, I go to Google, I reevaluate what I'm doing, and then yeah, I come back to this and it's so much better. I'm so glad I did this. And yeah, because I have no idea what I'm trying to do with the roof right now. So yeah, here we go with the new build, and this is actually what I end up with. So what I did was I did this build on this side, and then I uploaded it. Oh, I saved it to my gallery, and then I downloaded it on the other side and reversed it so that it wasn't the same shape. It was like the flipped shape. But when I'd flipped the shape, I realized I'd put some stairs in the wrong place and I had to move things around. So I had to go back to the first one to fix it all up, and then I go over to the second one and I furnish that one first. And then I come back and finish this one. So it is a bit of back and forward, and I'm not too annoyed at that. But if we had either bigger lots or like a world where we could just draw our own lots but still work on both of them at the same time or something like that, that would be so super cool. Um, I feel like though if we were just given free reign with the whole entire world, I'd get so overwhelmed. Because this little pond thing, waterway, whatever it is that is splitting the two houses, I don't think currently I could ever build that. And I'm not really into designing cities, I guess, or like towns or suburbs, and like this is why I don't play City Skylines. I think that'd overwhelm me way too much, and yeah, it'd just be too stressful, I think. Um, but to be able to edit two lots at the same time, I think that would be super handy. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Definitely let me know any thoughts, opinions, feedback, anything like that you have down below. Obviously we're only what, nearly 6 minutes in, and we've still got 30 something to go. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that sort of stuff. But no, the inspiration from this build was actually Tattooed Simmer. So she took part in this build, this build challenge last year when I ran it from July to December. I will be running it again, don't you worry. If you want to take part, I will be. But Tat did a university, like a frat house, but she just did a room. She did every build that she did was a room, which understandable. I would not want to be doing 1,000 builds. I mean, I am, and it's yeah, I can understand why she did room builds, and they were awesome. Every single one of them was so beautifully designed. And yeah, she did some sort of university frat basement type room, and I really, really liked it. Again, I tried not to look too hard at some of these, but I did hang out on stream for it. So we did get inspiration from that. But again, that was probably November last year, I think. I'm pretty sure it was late November last year that it was done, and I haven't looked at the build since. I haven't downloaded it. I haven't really taken a hard look at the Instagram. So yeah, it's something quite interesting, special, and unique. And so I'm really happy that I could take that concept or take inspiration from that concept and kind of make my own sort of thing. And I really, 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 really like how it ended up. So yeah, here you can see me moving everything over so that I can flip it. It was a little confusing at first to try and figure out how I was actually going to do that, and then I just did it and it made a lot of sense. So yeah, I really enjoyed how this turned out, and I'm really happy. Yeah, well, basically was how it turned out. This is also where I figured out the stairs were in the wrong spot, and I couldn't figure out how to put them in the right spot. But I did eventually, and it frustrated me to no end. And now that I think about it, did I? Oh, what I did was expanded the build one more to the side. No, because I was gonna have one room be like a storage room because it wasn't wide enough to have as a bedroom. But if I widened the whole build by one, then on that second level I could have two bedrooms, and on that third level I could have a walkway as well. Because, well, on the first, okay, I'm gonna use ground floor, first floor, second floor. No, ground floor, second floor, third floor. That works. All right. So on the second floor, the stairs come up and face into the center of the house, so everything's sort of surrounding it. But with the stairs on the third floor, it's facing towards the front of the house. So when you get to the top of the stairs, you're at the front of the house on the third floor. You'd need to have space to come back, which was where the stairs downstairs were. And so by expanding it one, I hope that made sense. By expanding it one, I was able to move a 3 tile wide room over one tile to create a hallway on the inside. I'm hoping that made sense because it was really confusing myself just there for a second. But yeah, I was having a lot of trouble with the windows and the doors and the floor plan and all this other stuff. But then I had to go back to the other build and fix that one up because I was not happy how I did have it, but the way I made it turned out really, really well. And yeah, it was just a lot better to work with than what I originally had as well. Um, but yeah, no, I really, really, really like how this ended up, and I decorated each room as if all of the different degrees lived here. So every degree, there's 13 degrees, so I furnished 13 spaces. Some of them are shared, some of them are not. So um let me just have a little looky-loo at the university degrees. Degrees. I'd written them all down, but then I erased them one by one as I went, and yeah, that probably wasn't the best idea because now I have to look it up again. But yeah, I know that the University of Rochester is the more arts-based one. You can go to that university for other degrees, but they are more known for their arts. Yeah, so they are known for art, history, communications, culinary arts, drama, fine art, history, and language and literature. So in that house, so I don't really know how frat houses work. I didn't do too much research into it, but what I did do was take inspiration from media, from movies and TV shows and media and all the things that I've heard about frat houses, and I kind of made that into like I used that inspiration here. So I did make one room be a single room. It's slightly smaller than all the double rooms, but you get it all to yourself. And so in the Brychester townhouse, I'm going to preface this by saying I imagined that the same people owned both sides and that you could just rent rooms there. And it was like they've just made one specifically for Brychester and one specifically for Foxbury, so that you could have the same unis in the same house and avoid any like issues in in-house fighting or whatever. So yeah, the one that they designed for, well, I say they designed, they made it identical basically. For Brychester, the president, I guess, is the communications major. And then the art history major and the fine art history major are sharing a room. The language and literature major and the history major are sharing a room. And then the drama major and the culinary arts major both get their own rooms. So there are 2 spare beds in that place. And then in the Foxbury Institute house is the villainy major is the president, and then the bio and physics people are sharing a room. The economics and psychology people are sharing a room, and then the computer science guy is on his own. And then there is actually a spare bedroom. Now I don't really understand why everyone gets called like this major or that major. I understand that American universities work very differently to Australian universities, but I haven't done much research into it, but I'm not sure how exactly it works or like why it works or why it's said like that. So in Australia, you go to uni for your degree. So you go to like I went to uni for psychology and criminology. They weren't my majors, they were my degrees. Now, I don't know if you guys just use different terminology in America or if it's everyone just studies the same one degree but you major in something different. Like, I don't know. I don't know how it works. But we also have majors over here. So when I did criminology, the full thing is criminology and criminal justice. Everywhere has that. And you either major in criminology or criminal justice. And when I was originally, like when I was starting at uni, we actually had 6 different majors to choose from. So there was like corrections, police, courts, and criminal justice. There was youth offending. I can't really remember what the other 3 are, but those three were actually three of the majors I was going to pick. Because I was lucky enough that a lot of classes overlapped and I'd only have to sit these. You were supposed to sit, let's say 10 classes for a major and 5 classes for a minor. The 10 classes for 2 of the majors were the same as each other, so I'd only have to sit 20 classes to get 3 majors. But I didn't have any space for doing minors, because none of the other classes lined up. And now it's not 10 and 5. I believe it's 6 and 4, but I could be wrong. I just went with 10 and 5 because that made a lot of sense in my head. So yeah, like you can have majors. So when I graduated with a major in criminology, because they'd changed the degree to be focused on criminology and not on criminal justice, which I believe is more of the courts and corrections side than the criminology side. But I still did classes for both and pretty happy with that. And like with my business degree, I'm majoring in accounting and real estate. I don't know if like over there, like maybe there are some broad degrees, like if you do an arts degree, well, okay, like maybe you've got like 4 broad degrees, like arts, medical, legal, and business or something like that, and then you pick your majors within those things. So like if you want to be a history major, you go do the arts degree. I have no idea. That's a thought that just popped into my head and kind of makes sense. So yeah, if you're an American who either studies at uni or knows how unis work over there, please let me know. And also the difference between uni and college. It might be the same difference over here, but I'm not entirely sure. So we have this thing called TAFE. It probably stands for something. Could not tell you what it does stand for. But it is a lot of trades, I guess. Yeah, like it's a lot of trades, and they're all diploma based. They're all diplomas or things like that. So you can get like you can do beauty or I mean you can even do a nursing diploma. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do there, and I know that there are actually some colleges here as well. So it's much more common to be going to a TAFE or a university, but college is also an option here. And I'm imagining college is very similar to what it is here, where it's not quite a uni degree, but it's higher than high school, which is fair. Like I know that there are. I think there's like 7 or 9 or 13. I don't know. There's an odd number of layers to the education system that goes all the way up to doctorate. I always get confused if it's master's, PhD, or doctorate. I think PhD, then master's, then doctorate. Yeah, there's like a full layery, listy bit of it, and from the moment you enter education in primary school, yeah, if you are someone who has knowledge in the American school system, particularly the tertiary education, I would love to get your feedback on how that all works, because I have no idea how any of it works. Yeah, it just seems a bit odd. I did try and look up degrees overseas to see if it worked any different or if I could like transfer or anything like that, because part of me was like, let's just run away to another country, not realizing, well, fully realizing but totally ignoring how feasible that it would actually be. So yeah, it's not really that easy to do that. But anyway, now I am decorating, I believe. Ah, yes, I'm decorating the Foxbury Institute townhouse. So I just did the villainy room, and now I am moving on to, I believe, the this is the psychology and economics room, which is kind of like that would kind of be my room, I guess. If I mean, I wouldn't live in a frat house, but I've studied psychology, and I know I'm not doing economics, but I do economic classes in my accounting degree, so I feel like this room would definitely be one where I'd be like, hey, I have a question. And then I'd be asking a lot of questions in here. But yes, I have actually studied one of these degrees and the other one kind of half doing. So I felt a lot more confident in decorating this room. This is probably one of the most decorated rooms. I also had the most steam here. Like the villainy room, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be so fun. I'm going to put in a bunch of stolen things, which I did. So like I put in like the ATM and the duffel bag of money, but I also put in the detective's desk and some case files and things like that. And I was like, this kid totally broke into the police station and stole the detective's desk and his own case file so that I could be top of the villainy career. This is absolutely sorry, the villainy. I don't even know English anymore. To be at the top of his degree. So he's like #1 in the whole degree. I love it. I love it a lot. And he keeps his house nice and clean, especially with all of like especially the bio kid. The bio kid would be like, how about we don't be gross and like have a nasty house. So they try and keep it as clean as possible. I kind of tried to decorate the bio kid's room like he was becoming a doctor almost. I kind of was very loose with the um details on like what exactly everyone did. So yeah, that's kind of how we ended up where we are. And that little room I quickly decorated before is the computer science room. So I gave the computer scientist their own room. I mean, computer science, is that even a real like degree? I don't know. If it's a real degree, like you go girl, you get your degree. But I've heard of oh maybe I have heard of it. I don't know. I think it was called something slightly different, but basically yeah, computer science. Maybe it is. I don't know. I had a roommate who did some sort of computing sciencey degree, so maybe I'm just forgetting what it's called. But I gave them their own room because I was kind of playing into the stereotype of them being this nerdy little white guy who lives kind of to himself. So I've met people like that at uni who like never come out of their room and never talk, and they're just these shy little beans. And you know what, that's fine to be shy and whatever, but I think this is also the perfect time to get out and make friends and chat with people and hang out and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. It's probably shouldn't have played into stereotypes, but I absolutely did. Anyway, now we are moving on to the bio and physics room. I don't really do physics. I've never done it. And I don't really, not that I don't get it, but like I said before, I don't study it, so I've never studied it. I don't really know what's the deal with it. All I know is one time I was going to walk into the physics classroom at the school, and because it was lunchtime, and I knew that the physics class was still in there, or some of them were at least, and I needed to talk to one of my classmates about a bio assignment, and I walked in the room, and as I stepped, like I literally had just stepped into the room, a I keep thinking Lego, it's not Lego, like a toy car, a Hot Wheels car came flying right past my face, and yeah, it nearly hit me. So all I know is physics can be really fun if you have a fun teacher who likes to bring Hot Wheels to class to fly them across the room, and nearly hit students in the face with. But yeah, I don't know. I also didn't try and make this place too easy to study at, because I imagine most people would probably study at a library or something like that. I mean, when I lived at uni, we had desks. You had a king single, a desk, and a wardrobe in your room, and a towel rack. And that was all that. Oh, and a chair. That's all that came in your room, really. Um, and then in the communal space, there was dining tables. Depending on if you lived in flats or dorms. There was either one or more dining table. There was always multiple fridges. Sometimes lockable cabinets. Sometimes cabinets that didn't lock. Sometimes cabinets that did lock, but none of your keys worked, and you had to try and guess which one was yours because everyone else's keys fit, and then there were a few left over that none of your keys fit. I always managed to get. I think I only ever had one locker that actually worked with my key, which is so strange because, like, your key should fit the door. It goes into your bedroom has a lock on it. So why doesn't the cupboard have the same lock? I'm so confused. Like, why do I have a random lock in here? But sometimes it can be pretty funny because if you've got a really bad roommate who has put their stuff in your cupboard, you can just lock the cupboard on them and then they can't get to their food. We've never done that. It's never happened in our flat, but it's still just very much like someone's annoying you, you could totally just lock them away from their food for like a couple hours until they learn to behave. Which the temptation was there to do it to someone one time, but I think they quickly learned that yelling at people for their own mistakes was not the best idea. But anyway, I won't say too much on that. But no, one thing I do want to talk about is the new pack that was announced. So it was announced, the teaser for it was announced yesterday, but it was after I'd recorded my video, and then I watched the trailer this morning, and I was like, you know what? I'm ambivalent. I'm not super excited, but I'm not excited. I feel like I'm just like, new announcement, new pack, okay, cool, sure, whatever. Move on. There's no secondary thoughts to that. But I think it's because I'm just so like, it's probably broken. They could fix the rest of the ones that are broken and they don't. I'm just kind of like given up, I guess. But I'm not too mad at it. A jewelry making kit, that's it. I keep calling them kids. A jewelry making pack, I'm not too mad at. And I guess it gives something useful for the gems because there's not really something useful you could do with them before. And now we have something useful to do with them. But I saw someone in the comments saying, oh, is it fairies? Is it fairies? Like a lot of people saying, is it fairies? But I don't think they would do stuff packs for fairies. I think all of the other occults are either game packs or expansion packs. And I think they'd do the same. I think they would make it expansion packs or game packs. Because I think mermaids came with island living, and then werewolves came in the werewolf pack, and then vampires came in the vampire pack. I don't know any of the other spellcasters came with realm of magic, so it's like split pretty evenly between the two. And I guess you've got plant sims, but I don't really know much about them, and I don't know if they're an occult. But yeah, you do have 50-50 split down the middle. I feel like it would be interesting to see which one it would actually be, but I definitely think they would not do it as a stuff pack. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know horses aren't an occult, but horses came with expansion pack, I think. But they said something about, they had that comment that was like a fairy, a horse, and a car or something like that. And yeah, it kind of makes sense that they would all be bigger packs because they're big things that people have been asking for, and they're probably big things that they've been working on for a while. My only hopes and prayers for that are that they work. This community sometimes can be a little, I don't know, like I understand why people complain because me too. Why is this game so broken? Why do they keep releasing new things instead of fixing them? But it's also like some of the new stuff that they're coming out with is actually really cool, so maybe I won't be so mad about it. Yeah, I'm very 50-50 with this game. Like, I just want to sit here and quietly build. I don't play the game, so for me, the fact that it doesn't work when you play it doesn't bother me as much as if you were to build and it doesn't work. That annoys me. Like round rooms, you could definitely try and fix those. I can understand why they'd be so glitchy. Um, but yeah, just yeah. I actually have a roommate at the moment who is currently studying game development, game design, game something, and they have a bit of knowledge in this area. And so I actually asked them, because in a previous video I was talking about how I really wanted more disability representation, and I asked like how difficult would it be to add wheelchairs or walking frames or like prosthetics or amputees or any of that sort of stuff. Like, how difficult would it be to add all of that stuff? And they were like, not that hard. If you've already got Sims sitting, you just have to copy that. Like, it's not just copy that, but basically copy that, and then you've already done a lot of the work. You're not doing it from scratch. You know, amputees. I would imagine that you, if you've got like a prosthetic on, you've already got a sim walking mapped out. So if you've got a prosthetic leg, I would imagine you'd have to do some minimal adjustments to make it look realistic. I know that with some prosthetics, you can see an obvious limp, or it might be like sometimes prosthetics don't look quite the same as flesh legs. But sometimes you can't even tell. Like, if people are wearing jeans, you can't even tell. So realistically, I don't think that would be too hard to do, like prosthetics. And yeah, with the wheelchairs, I get that coding and creating and all that other fun stuff with wheelchairs can be a bit difficult. Like, but the sim itself, you've probably already got done like that. That's super easy, and I understand that'd be a lot you'd have to add to the game as well outside of that, such as ramps and making sure that all of that worked properly, and um, you know, like what happens if you want to change the look of your wheelchair, and you know, every time you think about something new with wheelchairs, there's so much more you have to think about. You know, is it an electric wheelchair? Is it a manual? I don't know if that's the right word, but like all the different type of electric and non-electric wheelchairs, and then there's like scooters and things like that, and you know, I get it's a lot, but people who use wheelchairs go through a lot. It's not an easy life. And there's so many different reasons why people need wheelchairs. Um, I went to school with a kid who he didn't need a wheelchair. He had a leg brace because he had reconstructive knee surgery, and he was in the brace for like 6 months. And most of our classes were on second story, like on the second floor. So this kid would have to leave class, like his previous class, 5 minutes, 10 minutes before everyone else, so that he could walk from one end of the school to the other, or to walk down the stairs and up another set of stairs. And it was really, really difficult for him. And I felt so bad for him because, you know, like once he got that brace off, even then he was still slow and getting better, and you know, he had to go to a lot of physiotherapy and whatever. But once he was back to normal, you could see how fast he was walking around. Like he got his mobility back, he was able to move around a little more. But for those, like, I would say it was probably like 9 months, because he wasn't able to like run around or anything like that. Um, and you could just see how miserable he was. And this is a kid who is only dealing with this for 9 months. Like nine months of this, and you could just see how miserable he was. And I get not everybody who isn't, you know, not everybody, like if someone else were to be in his position, they might not be miserable, they might be fine, they might be able to still be happy and cheery and work their way through it. I mean, not even have to work their way through it. They might be absolutely fine with it. But there are some people who do find living with disabilities to be quite difficult, and it's not necessarily because of the disability. Like, yes, living with a disability can be very hard, but a lot of people, I've heard them say that a lot of the battle can sometimes be external to themselves. It's not, I don't know, if you live your life a certain way every day and you know what you can handle and what you can deal with, then, you know, that's what you can handle and that's what you can deal with, and you know your limits. Everybody has limits. But when the world around you is limiting you even more and denying you access to things, I think that's like, that really, really is not good. Like, that kind of really sucks. And the other thing is, like, if like with the new update about the vitiligo, I believe that's correct, and the hearing aids, and things like that, a lot of people said now I can actually play the game like me. Someone, like, I can make someone who is like me, and I think that's super powerful. I think the reason why people play games like this is so you can make someone like you. That's the whole point of the simulation game, is you can live out your whole life and create whatever story you want. But if you can't create yourself, like, how unfair is that? That's so, like, it defeats the purpose of the whole game. And there are a lot of people in this world who would benefit from a lot of these things being added. And like I said, I get it would be hard to do it. It wouldn't be like an overnight thing you could implement, but like I said, it's hard living with disabilities. It's not easy. It's not, you know, you just blink and oh, everything's fixed now. Like, no, it's a lifelong struggle, and I think putting in that effort to accommodate, to include other people is super important. Because no one should feel excluded, no one should feel left out, no one should feel like they can't fit in because, oh, it's too hard to do that. I think if you use the excuse if it's too hard to include someone, that's kind of lazy almost. Like, if you had a friend who, let's say you have two friends in wheelchairs, one of them you really, really like and one of them you really, really don't. If you still went out of your way to make accommodations for the wheelchair users, that's fine. But if you only went out of your way to make accommodations from the wheelchair user that you did like, I wouldn't say, well, you're not inclusive and you're not helping. I'd be like, you don't like that person, okay. I've got no other comment to make because, well, I can't tell you how to live your life. But if you're just like, look, mate, I know you're my friend, but it's so difficult and can you, like, figure it out yourself or whatever? Like, no, you can go out of your way and make accommodations. I have a friend who found out not too long ago that they have some severe allergies, and I was like, okay, give me recipes. Like, what can I cook for you that doesn't include all of your allergies? And I would go research it myself and find out myself, but there are so many specific things that they're allergic to that, like, I would have to look at every single ingredient and read it and know it all. And even their doctor doesn't know all of that, so that's the only reason why I'm asking for recipes there. But, like, I live with a picky eater, so I ask them what they eat, what they don't eat, and try and accommodate to that. Like, it's not hard to accommodate people, but it's not hard to make other people feel like you care about them, but it might be hard to accommodate them because, you know, I'm severely limited with what I can cook for this picky eater, but to have them be able to sit down and eat like that, everyone deserves to eat, everyone deserves to be included. So that's basically, after that long ramble and rant, that's what I mean. Like, I think everyone should be included. I think Sims absolutely could include something, whether they start with amputees and prosthetics. I think that would be not as difficult. Let me know if there is already that in the game. Again, I don't play CAS. I don't know if they've added it. I don't think they have. But I think these things are super important to add, and I think it also teaches kids a lot. You can help them expand their mind and go, well, okay, I can't build like this, or I can't play with this sim if they can't go here or whatever, and it'll encourage them to rebuild the world around them to accommodate these people. And I think targeting, I don't want to say targeting, but like educating children is super important when it comes to the inclusion of others, because then they'll grow up and be inclusive people as well, and it means that they're not going to be bullies, or they're less likely to be bullies because now they're more educated. But anyway, that is the end of my rant and ramble. I'm going to cut myself off there because otherwise I'm going to rant and ramble beyond the end of this video, and I actually need to get this uploaded and done. Got a lot of things to do today. I've got to go look at another house and do another build and stream, and just I'd like 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I mean, I'm 5.5 days away from finishing, so very close, very, very close. I'm very excited, but I'm also kind of sad to finish this challenge. If you want to do this challenge, I will be running it again this year, don't you worry about that. And make sure to head over to my Instagram for that. I'm doing it on my Discord, so if you don't have Instagram and you only have Discord, head over there, because I'm absolutely doing it over there. That's where it'll be held and hosted, but I'll also be sharing it on Instagram to spread the word. I don't know why I said spread, to spread the word. But anyway, if you've enjoyed this, definitely let me know down below. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoy this content, and hopefully I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Alright, thank you so much. Bye guys!